Hello everybody, welcome to another True Review. Today I'm bringing you Albedo, Eyes from Outer Space on the Xbox One. It releases on the 20th of January 2016, priced at $11.99 in the UK. It's a first-person puzzle game, stroke exploration game, stroke shooter, I suppose you would call it. Although there's not an awful lot of shooting to be done in the game, though there is a bit towards the end. I'll go quickly over the plot details. You play as a security guard from what I can gather, and for some reason during his shift he starts feeling unwell, staggers from his desk, falls unconscious and falls through a hole that opens up in the lobby floor. When he comes round, he's in the basement, stuck in the basement behind a locked door. There's banging behind the door and growling like some kind of creature is behind the door, and he has to escape and then find out what the hell's going on and what the hell's happened to him.
I have to put out the fire.
So the game's played from a first person's perspective, and the majority of the gameplay is finding objects, interacting with the objects, and then interacting with the environment. Binding these objects together with the environment to bypass the puzzles, like open doors, dive fires out across acid pits for example, or just basically negotiate the environment or find ways to get to the exit in each room. Now, the problems begin straight away with the game. The game's default difficulty setting is hard, and on hard you get no assistance whatsoever, and it's very difficult to actually see what objects you can interact with. I mean, the game in most of the rooms is very dark as it is, and some of the objects are very tiny, so the default setting I found very difficult to play. I had to lower the difficulty level down, which is when the objects that you can interact with actually glow green and actually draw your attention to them. And the game's definitely better played on that level, because you really need to know what you can interact with to solve the puzzles, really, because you could be scratching your head for ages just simply because you haven't found a tiny little object. Then the second problem hits you, and this one's probably worse than the first problem because there's no actual way around this. The interface is appalling to interact with the objects. When you get an object, you have various selections what you can do with an object, which you can cycle through. You can throw it, you can use it, you can combine it, you can drop it, you can throw it, and toggling through all these is really difficult to do. It's not very intuitive whatsoever, and you do find a lot of the occasions you pick the wrong options and you end up dropping objects or throwing objects that you're meant to use. And a really big problem occurs when you're trying to get objects out of your inventory. Sometimes it just wouldn't work for me. I was pressing the button to get it out of my inventory and it just basically didn't do anything, and I had to completely exit out of the object interface, go back in again and actually perform the action again, and then for some reason it worked after several attempts. So I'm not sure what the hell's going on there, but there's definitely an issue with it. And this happened throughout the game. I was battling with the control system from start to finish. The puzzles themselves are a bit of a mixed bag. Some of them are pretty straightforward and some of them are very convoluted and really roundabout ways to solve the problems. And you will be stuck an awful lot of time, and to be honest with you, I discovered some of the complicated puzzles just by simply through trial and error, not from having that like eureka moment where you realise what you've got to do. So the game could do with throwing you more hints. You can lower the difficulty level even further when your character will shout hints out to you, but to be honest with you, you usually know what you've got to do, it's just that you don't know how you've got to do it, and that's all the hint really tells you, really, is what you've got to do. Turning to the graphics, the environments I quite actually like. The environments weren't bad. There's a good selection of dingy basements, science labs, alien environments towards the end of the game, and yeah, really nice. There's about 20 odd rooms to go through, so it's not a very big game, but the environments were quite nice. The character models though were very ropey, pretty much like probably early PlayStation 2 kind of graphics. The character models were just not very good whatsoever. Sound wise, the soundtrack I really love. The 60s kind of B-movie science fiction theatre kind of music. I thought they worked really well. Sound effects were reasonable as well. The voice acting unfortunately was woeful. I think the developers probably did their own voice acting on this one, but it kind of adds to the cheesy B-movie kind of theme that the game tries to portray. Achievement wise, the achievements are going to be a very easy 1000 gamer score. There's nothing too difficult here. I unlocked the majority of the achievements just by trial and error, by going through the environments. and there was a few achievements which I had to actually look up to find out what to do, but none of them are difficult, none of them are complicated. You quite easily obtain the full game score with very little effort, and it's one of these weird games as well where you actually unlock the final achievement before you actually complete the game. Back to the game itself now. It's a very, very short game. The press release to say it takes about 8 hours to complete. It offers 8 hours of gameplay, but in all honesty, I found I'd completed the game within about 4 hours, and that was with a bit of mopping up to collect a few achievements that I missed in some of the rooms as well. So yeah, it's 4 hours for $11.99. I don't think that represents really that good value for money. I probably would have priced it myself at about $7.99. So it might be one of these that I would say it's worth getting because the story is quite clever, but I wouldn't get it at the original launch price. I would definitely wait for it to come on sale. I would say if it drops to about $7.99 or 50% sale, definitely pick it up there, because the story I actually quite like. The payoff at the end when it tied all the plot lines together actually was quite clever. Like I say, if you just got to get over battling with the appalling control system. It's probably one of those cases where the controls worked on the PC perfectly, and when they've translated them across to a pad control, it's just kind of gone out the window somewhere. It's just not worked. So overall, I'm going to give Albedo Eyes from Outer Space a 5 out of 10. I'd love to be able to give this a little bit more, but the control systems really do bring this game down an awful lot. Like I said, the story is worth experiencing. It's quite a clever payoff at the end, but a lot of people probably won't battle through the control issues and lose their patience with the game a long time before that. So I hope you enjoyed that review. Thanks for watching, and please remember to like, comment and subscribe on my various social media pages. It does really help me build the channel, and I will catch you on the next review. Thanks again for watching.